Echinodermata. Derma means skin. Echino means spiny. So these have a spiny skin. These are very strange organisms, right? This includes like sea stars, starfish, sometimes they're referred to, sea urchins, even sand dollars, okay? Even what they call sea slugs, which tend to be soft, not sea slugs, sorry, sea cucumbers, not sea slugs. Sea cucumbers. They are soft-bodied, kind of like slugs. Sea cucumbers. Okay. So why do these organisms or why are they grouped in that group? One of the interesting things about these is that their ancestors are bilaterally symmetric, and then the larvae are bilaterally symmetric, but they have radial symmetry as adults. So they have bilateral larvae, and their ancestor was bilateral. Now, echinoderms are actually grouped with our phylum, which is the chordata, because these guys are deuterostomes. Deuterostome means that the second opening becomes the mouth, and the first opening of the digestive tract becomes the anus. So that's a type of embryonic development. These organisms have an internal skeleton, so they have an endoskeleton, and the spines protrude out with spines protruding from the surface. Sometimes these spines are very noticeable, like on sea urchins, sometimes not so noticeable, like on the sand dollars. Oftentimes what we see of these organisms is just their endoskeleton on the beach, right? They also have little spines, the sea stars do. Because they are radially symmetric as adults, they do not have a brain. So adults have no brain. So I'll put they don't have cephalization. So they have a nerve ring, and each arm has its own nerve extending out into it. And like with the sea stars, they actually have little eye spots on the ends of their arms, which is very interesting about how they might use those eye spots. Sea stars are actually, in many cases, carnivorous, and they actually hunt. The sea stars do, and they hunt bivalves. So when we look at the structure, another structure that is unique to echinoderms, they have a unique system. So remember, systems are like digestive, circulatory, respiratory. They have what is referred to as a water vascular system. This is not a system that we have, so therefore it couldn't be a circulatory system. It can't function as a digestive or excretory or respiratory system, so it has to have another function. And its function is locomotion and feeding. Okay. It includes tube feet. So on the bottom part of a sea star, for example, we might have a structure which is connected to a whole series of water canals. And this is my tube foot. So this is one tube foot. It has a structure called an ampulla. This ampulla actually has muscles in it, so I might draw those muscles in. And it's oftentimes, I like to think of it as kind of like a turkey baster, where if you squeeze the ampulla, water will shoot out of your tube foot. So water will move out, right? And the foot will extend. If this tube foot then attaches to a surface, it can actually create a static pressure, right? So it can produce hydraulic pressure. So this would be like my tube foot attached to the surface, and it is sucking, right? So if you've ever tried to pull the tube foot off or a sea star off of a rock, you know it takes quite a bit of time. You have to wait for the hydraulic pressure to release, because they can actually suck to the surface without using any muscular action. So this is hydraulic pressure. It does not consist of sustained muscle contraction. So it doesn't require as much energy as if they were actually using muscles to like stay stuck to a rock. Okay. So a sea star can move across the surface. It moves very slowly, but if you speed it up, you can see they have kind of a complex feeding behavior where they move across the surface of an ocean floor. And when they come upon a bivalve, they could actually use their 2 feet to adhere to the 2 parts of the shell. And the bivalve actually has to use muscular action in order to stay closed. So imagine a clam. The clam is shut, right? You can't open it. But the sea star puts hydraulic pressure on both sides of the shell. The shell will begin to open. And then what it does is it actually ejects its stomach into the inside of the shell and digests the inside until it becomes mushy, and then it kind of just sucks everything out, and it brings its stomach back into the inside. So this is a unique system that is not found in any of the other phyla.